I think the student who's wanting to choose an institution must do it with his own effort. He must study all the prospective institutions, which, we should shortlist a few of them, look at their websites, and perhaps pick up the phone and talk to people, figure out friends around. And if need be, it's a question of career, you should visit a few institutions.
Today we have with us Dr. Sanjay Modi, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of LPU, and along with him I have Dr. Harpal Theti, who is the Director of Corporate Relations and Outreach Cell. We are going to talk a little more about the kind of courses, the kind of students, the kind of future leaders that this institute is making, and we're also going to talk about the kind of companies that come in and the kind of roles that they get. I'll start with you, Dr. Modi. Thank you very much for joining us today and be part of this conversation.
Pleasure, Paul.
Yeah. So, Dr. Modi, my first question to you would be, it's been almost 3 decades that you're teaching, right? And you've managed a lot of these roles and responsibilities in your life so far, both academically and professionally. Tell us a bit about the shift that has taken place in the management education. So,
one primary shift which has taken place is the introduction of a lot of technology component into management education. Another thing which a major change has taken place is you have very different and new kind of specializations which have emerged. Earlier, we used to hear only about functional area specialization, HR, finance, marketing, operations, etc. But now you have specializations like business analytics, strategy, rural marketing, retail, supply chain management, banking and financial services, financial markets, fintech. Now, all these are the emerging areas. Another thing is that, experiential learning has become extremely important in management education. People are working on live projects, short-term internships, full-length internships, and engagement with the industry and industry professionals has increased. That never used to happen as frequently as we have it now.
I want to know, at LPU, how are you designing curriculum to, address these changes?
So we make sure that whatever developments take place in the industry, because industry keeps coming back to us for recruitment also. So they keep telling us these are the skills which we are required to provide to the students. So that's one area. And secondly, apart from their random feedback, we make sure that the industry professionals as well as our alumni are part of our board of studies where the curriculum is revised. So we get a huge amount of feedback on the basis of which we design the curriculum, revise the curriculum, and make sure that it is relevant to the needs of the industry. And then another dimension is within the curriculum, we make sure that there's a significant space left for research and live projects and field projects. People are able to work on the live industry projects. We have a relationship with the industry, and the students are able to take some assignments from the industry and work on them.
I would like to know, what is the overall impact of LPU Business School students who have graduated from this particular institute in the Indian corporate sector?
To tell you a few cases, for example, we have one Ms. Shivani Singh. She has gone on to become the HR business partner in Home Credit in Philippines. Rushabh Rajpurohit, he's an MBA 2018 student pass out, and he's the media head India for Really Media India. And our people are doing very well in consulting. Hemant Sharma, Ashish Dada, they're working EY in very senior capacity. A lot of people are very successful as entrepreneurs also. We had one girl, Mandeep Kaur Sidhu. She started her own company, Simba Card. She's the CEO of the company now, and has just, I think last year, she received the upcoming Startup of the Year award from SOCHM. And a student who passed out as late as 2020, he is Nilesh Shah. And he's the CEO of Nilra. He's a private limited. And he started, in fact, he did his BTech and MBA both from LPU. And he started his own venture when he was a student of BTech. Even with respect to government jobs, students are clearing civil services. A management student is, Deputy Commissioner with Jammu and Kashmir government, Ehsanul Haq. So there is no dimension of employment where students are not going or not sought after.
Okay, so Dr. Harpal, now I'll move to you. The one thing that students are very concerned about or keen knowing about is the kind of companies that come on campus, right? So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So good afternoon. These are actually exciting times now, because we have seen industry going through a green patch, and I'm seeing this green patch after a lot of time, which means that a lot of companies are hiring. The companies are offering meteor roles and meteor salaries. So be it the likes of maybe an Amazon, for example, or C8, Havells, Asian Paints, Colgate-Palmolive, Moody Analytics, or most of the big four companies. So all these companies have been hiring in good numbers and at good packages. So that's my answer to your question.
So you said that you are part of the CDS team. Is there a proper course of action that is taken before the companies come on campus?
Right from the first year itself, we try and see that most of our students are working on the real case studies, live projects wherever it is possible. So I'm very happy to share that about 95% of our students are having multiple live projects with them. Those who are not having are actually looking into getting into entrepreneurship, and then we as a system have been holistically developing this trait as well, because you've seen the number of unicorns which have popped up in the country in last couple of years itself. So we thought that why not we? So we have actually parked a corpus for that.
Tell us about those two CV hacks that students should have in their CVs in order to get registered by the companies and then eventually get picked up.
So the first hack for me is that be you. If you're trying to be you, as I said, your story is your story. So you should be very confident as to what your story is and what is asked from the life, and then work very aggressively in curating these data sets, and then putting a thread to the data set is very, very critical. So you should be actually putting a thread to the different data sets and then try and see as to how close you are to your story. So the first hack obviously has to be you. The second hack obviously has to be gone are the days when you will just do a degree and then get a job, or a meaningful job. So for getting a meaningful job, you should be rightly present in the present, which means that there are multiple opportunities which are popping up. So you should be able to take up a very simple problem statement and then work with the teaching learning ecosystem at the Mittal School of Business or the larger ecosystem for an example, and then try and put a resolve to it. You can take the example of the Olas of the world or the Oyos of the world. So they took up a small piece of problem and then they were very aggressively trying to put a resolve towards that, which can be scaled up. So that has to be the second hack. Along with the second hack, I also would like to advise to the student community who is listening to this is that your digital signature plays a very critical role, which means that, and you should be very cognizant of what you're writing into your digital journey.
Is LPU preparing the students that are coming out and then who are going to take up challenges in the real world now with any particular skills? And if yes, what are those and how is that going to help them?
So for a student, one need to understand as to what his or her piece of story is, and then what he or she wants to achieve, and then keep on building skills towards that. We have been working along this internship module very, very aggressively. Students are actually working on the skills which the companies are looking forward to. The finance space and the fintech space is actually grown many folds, and then it is growing. And thanks to this unicorn culture, we are also preparing our students to think like maybe an entrepreneur and then apply any of the problems. So there are companies where there are multiple startups within the company itself. So we are trying to give these kind of a thought process to our students. A lot of live problem statements also coming from the industry to help us with this cause. These are the problem statements which are straight lift from the corporate world itself. And if you reverse integrate that and put that into your curriculum, this gives you a story to talk to. So that is how we have been working along with all the students.
What are some of the skills, if you can pinpoint, that a particular student needs to have who is eager to be part of a B-school like this?
So what is extremely important is that one should have the keenness to learn and analyze. Number two, one has to be, as I said initially, one has to be extremely comfortable with technology. There is no way of getting away from that. And along with this comes your kind of comfort level with figures or numbers. Number crunching is going to be important in business because decision making is becoming increasingly quantitative, right? You have to
Right.
look at the figures, the data, and all decisions are data driven now. So that's important. Then soft skills is very important. So one has to have in-depth understanding of the issues. That is what I call as good soft skills and good communication skills. And then another important dimension, which I think all management students today, and in fact any profession should have, is willingness to shoulder responsibility and work independently. You cannot just keep relying on your colleagues, your seniors, and try to keep seeking help. You have to learn to take charge of the situation, take decisions independently, and take risks also with them. You might fail, you might succeed, so one has to be prepared for that. So
Absolutely.
willingness to accept it. And then initiative is becoming very important. I always tell people, at least in LPU, I said, if you are not getting additional responsibilities beyond what you are, whether it's teaching or anything else, I said, then you must say there's something essentially wrong with me. You must do something additional.
Right. Dr. Modi, this brings me to the last question that I have for you. The kind of students who are right now maybe not sure about their choices as to which B school they want to join in, which are the kind of courses that interest them. For them, what will be your advice, how they should make that decision?
So you must scan the website for certain things. One, the curriculum has to be absolutely cutting edge. And the pedagogy, you cannot depend on conventional pedagogy of classroom teaching where the teaching is teacher-centric. It is not teaching anymore. It is only, we are only kind of facilitators to the students. Quality of infrastructure is definitely very important. The entire thing makes an ambience that makes the student life more vibrant. In LPU, we have students from Punjab, we have only about 25 to 30% students. Rest are from different parts of the country, right? And we have very large number of international students, more than 3,000 international students. Now, when you have such a diversity in every discipline, the level of discussion is very different. Not only diversity doesn't mean only accepting different culture, but also accepting different opinions. And then another important dimension which the students need to look at is variety of exposure beyond the classroom, which I mentioned, whether it is co-curricular, curricular, extracurricular, cultural, sports activities, student clubs. Then, of course, the industry interface is important. The track record of internships and placement of the institution is important. I think the student who's wanting to choose an institution must do it with his own effort. He must study all the prospective institutions, which, we should shortlist a few of them, look at their websites, and perhaps pick up the phone and talk to people, figure out friends around. And if need be, it's a question of career, you should visit a few institutions.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Modi and Dr. Harpal. I'm sure the students who are looking for answers will get some answers about LPU, at least from this particular video. Thank you very much again for your time, both of you. And if you guys who are watching this video want to know more about LPU, there's a link in the description. You can click on that and you can know more about that.